Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Wednesday with Kitchen to Commerce, my YouTube channel. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for subscribing. If you have not done so already, hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell, and tell me what you think about this video. This week I am shooting from my sister and brother-in-law's office in their self-tape studio here at their home, my parents' home in Everett, Michigan. They are both in the acting industry, Alex and Russel. I'm going to include a link to their website as well because they teach you how to get into the business, how to do headshots, how to do self-taping, where you should be applying, how you should be choosing a manager to manage your new career that you want to launch into. So they have a ton of experience. They lived in LA, they lived in Hollywood for many, many years. I'm going to be inserting some videos and some footage here from my beautiful trip here up north in beautiful Everett, Michigan. We went on a bike ride, we went along the Muskegon River. It's just so beautiful up here. So I wanted to talk to you again today about trade shows. Now I did a video here back in May when my husband Dave and I went to the IBIE. We attended that trade show. It was held in Orlando back in May. So Zach and I just attended another trade show in Las Vegas here in September. It's the IBIE. It's a huge trade show for our industry. It's all about grain, wheat. So all of the French bread bakers were there, the German bread bakers, the French pastry chefs, and all of the really great United States bakers as well that we attended a few classes from some of these upscale chefs. They were doing some really great things and they had some really great information. Zach and I learned so much at this trade show, but the classes that we took, one was on lamination, and he talked all about flour and butter, and Chef talked about a small artisan bakery that he now runs, owns, and operates in Maine, I believe he is. And he had also worked in huge industrial bakeries as well. And he talked about the whole logistics with scaling quality. Oh my gosh. Anyway, we learned so much from his class. And then we took another class from the guy who owns the LA Hearth, and he makes a really great bread as well. He passed out samples of his chocolate bread and his 100% whole wheat bread. I mean, this guy is doing great work. So I'm excited about getting some of his bread to taste. I'm going to order a couple of cases of that bread that Zach and I tasted that morning during his class. Oh my gosh. So he started too, very small. He told us that a very pivotal point in his life is when he signed up for the Bread Bakers Guild of America, and that really helped to catapult him into the industry and really hone in on bread baking. Guys, it's a whole different skill. It's a whole different science than pie. So I don't know how to make bread. I've been practicing. I've been trying at home. I have a wheat grinder. I did a video where I was grinding ancient grains like Einkorn. We have different grains that I play around with here at home, and I you know, it took a long time for me to really get my bread to, you know, what I expected it to do. So there's a lot of different techniques, a lot of different, I don't want to say it's like some big scientific thing, but it is. It's chemistry. It's pretty interesting. So I'm excited about starting to make bread here at our pie bakehouse. I'm needing and wanting to find an expert in pie who wants to start her or his own business. I'll supply the bakehouse. I've got transportation. I've got a whole administrative office set up. I've got a building that I'm paying a huge mortgage on, and I've got some good equipment. So if you are interested in partnering with me and supplying Macomb County with really great bread, let me know. Just go to my website, you know, private message me, whatever you need to do. So when we went to the IBIE, Zach and I learned about a lot of the bread baking equipment that we'll have to purchase. Like I said, we just got a really great education from that 3 days that we were there. We went to all of the different booths, equipment booths. We visited some of the people that we already do business with. Unifiller is one, and we were able to chat and troubleshoot with some of the problems we're having. It was really great. The Angel Press, a lot of different pieces of equipment that we're currently using they were represented there at the booth, and we were able to visit with them. One of the things that I noticed that a lot of people seem to be missing, because during our classes you have an opportunity for question and answer. And I asked about the, we talked a lot about the chemical compositions and the different levels of gluten and protein, the different moisture levels. And some of the chefs were telling me, well, you're in Michigan and you don't grow bread flour there. You don't grow, right? Yeah, hard wheat and things that, have the highest protein and the gluten. You can only grow that pastry flour. And I said, well, that's good for me because I'm in the pastry business. I make pie crust. I need a lower protein level in my flour, right? So I work with 2 flour mills here in Michigan, Star of the West and King's Mill. And I have recently called them up and asked them about their lab inspections. I wanted to see if they are measuring pesticides and herbicides and all the chemicals from the industrial farms. Is there any residue of Roundup on our wheat? I just didn't feel good about eating that or making pie for you, my customers. And so I've done quite a few videos on glyphosate and Roundup and how I don't want it on our wheat. I'm surrounded by fields of GMO corn and GMO soybeans, and then they rotate it every 3rd year with wheat. And even though that wheat, is not resistant to Roundup like the GMO corn and soybeans are, they'll still, sometimes some farmers will still spray that field with Roundup to kill that wheat so that they can harvest it earlier. It gets it to start drying out. So they'll use glyphosate as a dissectant to get the harvest to try to speed up so they can get it off the field sooner, because they've also got corn and soybeans and too much going on. They have to try to rush Mother Nature, and that's what Monsanto is telling them, here, buy my product. I find in my life that sometimes a good thing you have to wait for. It takes time. Mother Nature needs to ripen that apple on the tree, ripen those peaches. I find that when sometimes my suppliers try to send me some really crappy green sour peach slices, and we've sent stuff back. We've called, we've complained. And the same with y'all. If you're in the baking industry, look harder at your ingredients. And that's what we're trying to do, is hone in on the best, cleanest flour, grown naturally, not sprayed. So both of my flour mills, luckily, King's Mill and Star of the West, both said that they do inspections, they do lab tests, and they have, boots on the ground where they're going to the different farms that is supplying them with wheat to make sure that they're not using glyphosate. That was really good news for me to hear. Although they said our wonderful government, so the FDA, the USDA, says that it's okay for us to eat Roundup on our food, that it can't be helped. In this day and age, it's everywhere. It's in our water, it's in our drainage ditches, it's running off of our fields, it's in our Great Lakes, it's spilling out into the Gulf of Mexico with all of the land erosion that's happening. Really big problems in Ohio right now, if you haven't heard, with land erosion. Farmers are losing their fields and their farms due to erosion, due to heavy compaction with heavy tractor tires, due to all of the sprays and chemicals that they've used on their fields for so many years, has killed the life in the soil and the biology that holds things together. When we get a heavy rainfall, they lose a lot of their topsoil. So as a baker, I feel that if I'm going to support a farmer who's using the heavy chemicals, the heavy pesticides, that's not really caring for their soil, that I feel like I'm part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution. And the solution is to retain your topsoil. Back to the IBIE at the trade show, we had an opportunity to do question and answer with some of these big chefs. And one of the chefs started small, like I said. His turning point is when he signed up to be part of the American Bread Bakers Guild of America, and we signed up at the show as well because we're just so interested in bread. Those guys offer so much information, so check them out too, the Bread Bakers Guild. I'll include a link below. You may be interested in signing up for their newsletter as well. But the one chef that was talking about flour and the different compositions and the different protein levels and everything, he was getting really scientific, and it was really intriguing to me. we did question and answer, because now this guy has this huge bakehouse, and he does things for Starbucks, he does things for Subway, so that's got to be pretty big. And when he has a truck pull up into his parking lot, you know, they say they don't even allow that truck to stop and park if the spec sheet comes in and it's not the correct specifications that they need in their facility to make whatever they're making. For instance, if the protein level is off, the moisture level, or the pH level, so they're looking at things like that. But I asked the question, do you also look at the herbicide chemical that may be on that wheat? Are you asking for a lab report to measure glyphosate or pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, all these things that are on our food nowadays in the US? And they say, no, we're not looking at that, but we know that it tastes different, it tastes bad, it leaves a bad flavor when there is glyphosate on there. I'm like, whoa, you know, but I guess you could probably taste it at 32 parts per million that the USDA says is okay for human consumption. Yeah, he was talking about the flavor profile and how bad it tastes. And I said, I don't know what Roundup tastes like, but I imagine it probably doesn't taste very good, whether I'm eating it or my chickens or your animals are eating that ground up corn. That's now, of course, the USDA and the FDA feel that for an animal to eat this GMO corn or grain that's been sprayed is allowed like 250 parts per million. Holy crap. So we know that that's getting into the cow's milk, and then it's being transferred to us. So, you know, glyphosate has been found in milk, not only cow milk, but human milk too. So I'm being very cautious. You know, I threw out my Quaker oats. I love to eat oatmeal for breakfast. And I know that Quaker oats was, you know, busted with, you know, tons of glyphosate in it, way above the levels that we humans should be eating. So I just buy organic oatmeal from now on. So we're trying to be careful, you know, with our family on what we're consuming. And I'm concerned about what we're bringing into our facility. But I was surprised to be here at this big trade show, and not a whole lot of people really were doing that kind of lab testing. I asked our lab here in Michigan to do a glyphosate test, and she said she didn't have the equipment, but she could purchase it, and for now it would be about $450 testing one ingredient. So I'm like, well, I want to test about 10 ingredients, and that's going to cost a lot of money. But we are on the path to finding better quality ingredients, whether it's wheat or our milk or, you know, our apples. So we are really looking for other farmers who want to conserve and preserve and sustain their property and their soil and their farms and not allow it to wash off. So I'm looking for farmers who will properly rotate their cattle or their chickens around on their farm as not to cause erosion and overgrazing. So my youngest son, Zach, who is 26 years old, we both went to this big trade show in Las Vegas, and we had a great time, and we ate at some really great restaurants too there in Vegas. There's a lot of really great chefs doing their thing there. Momofuku was one that my son and I have eaten at. This James Beard award-winning chef. He's got other, you know, Momofuku restaurants. It's fun to say, right? So we went to his restaurant in Toronto, and we were able to go to his restaurant here in Las Vegas. What a great time. We had a great experience. We sat up at the bar and we were able to watch the chefs, you know, behind the grill do their things, and what a talent they are. So we had a great time there. And the next night we went to another really great restaurant that I highly recommend called Best Friend. And so these guys came over from LA. I think they have a lot of food trucks. I think they might even have a television show on what they're doing with their food truck industry there in LA. So it's just it's a small restaurant. It was really great. We didn't have any drinks. Our bill was only about $50, which was pretty great for the food that we received there in Best Friend. Wow, it was really great. Had a great time. Even though I don't gamble and I don't think Las Vegas is very fun, there's still some fun things that you can do there. Great restaurants, great shows. But for Zach and I, we just spent every day, 3 full days there at the trade show from early morning till late in the evening. So we were kind of pooped and not really partaking in too many of the other fun things that go on in Las Vegas. So if you are interested in baking classes, my son Zach has been teaching baking classes in our Troy, Michigan pie shop. We're on Long Lake Road there. But you can go on our website, get a little more information. We used to do a lot of baking classes in the past. Jean-Marc will always pop in as a guest baker here at Achatz Pie Company and show us how to do some really nice French pastries. We just had that one here not too long ago. We hosted it in our Maida pie shop. And so that was a lot of fun. Zach assisted Jean-Marc. Zach is now branching out and doing his own classes. He does a great job. We're getting a lot of really great feedback. So our classes take place in the Troy Pie Shop after hours at 7 o'clock at night. And we have very small class sizes. I think we have anywhere from 8 to 12 people. So it's very hands-on. You're going to get a lot of, one-on-one instruction. Ashley is our store manager there in Troy, so she does a great job hosting the classes there in her shop. We newly remodeled that store, so we have twice as much space there. And there in the Troy shop, we also have our little wedding consultation room. So we do wedding pies. We've done some really nice work over the 26 years with wedding pies. We were on Food Network because we do wedding pies. And our pies were voted #1 pie in America many years ago on the Food Network when they came out, did a little show on us. It was so long ago, but it was a lot of fun, and we really were happy and excited that we were acknowledged and recognized here in the whole United States. We were up against 4 other pie bakers, 4 other pie companies, and we happened to win #1 with our wedding pie. So if you go into the Troy shop, you'll be able to see our little wedding consultation room where you can sit down and do a little tasting and a little consultation with Ashley, who's handling that program. But Zach did a really great job. He's done 5 or 6 classes now here in the last 5 or 6 weeks. He's really pounding them out. Zach is very passionate about the food industry. Like I said, he started in the food industry when he was still a little bun in the oven. And he did some blueberry pie classes. And in these classes, he always does a little extra. And he did some blueberry syrup. He showed everyone how to make it, and he did little spritzers, and everyone got to drink taste the little blueberry spritzers. That was a little extra that he threw in. He just did an apple dumpling class. So we talk all about the different apples here in Michigan that we grow that make really great apple dumplings. We give you our top secrets on how we baste those apples, how we stuff those apples. We give you our recipe. And we carry those apple dumplings in all 6 of our pie shop for a very, very short time here in Michigan. And so Zach tells you all about how to make your own apple dumplings. You go home with a bunch of treats. In that class, I thought he also showed everyone how to make a caramel sauce. So that's delicious too. So if you are interested in taking a hands-on baking class, we are now offering a lot of different classes. Yeah, go ahead and call or sign up to look at our schedule over the next few months. We will probably taper off with baking classes here around Thanksgiving because that's our focus. That's our busiest time of year, is November and December. And then come January, February, March, we'll be doing some more classes starting up full force again. So if you're interested in a hands-on class, go ahead. I'm going to include the link below. If you are interested in online classes, I am getting ready to start all things pie. I want to show you how to make pie crust. It seems to be the pitfall, right? It seems to be the real problem when you are making your pie at home, is everyone says, I can make a great filling. I use the right apples like my grandma used to make, but I just can't seem to get my pie crust right. A lot of people have a hard time with crumbly crust. They can't roll it out. It's dry. It tastes like cardboard when it's done baking. I have a lot to share with you about proper pie crust making and baking. I look at so many recipes and I just do not understand. There's one thing that everybody seems to do that we don't do at Achatz Pie Company. And believe me, we're making hundreds and hundreds of pounds of pie dough every day right now. Whew, we use a lot of bigger equipment now, but we were able to figure out how we could make that pie crust just like we did in the early years in a bowl, making very small batches. We mixed everything by hand for many years. And we would make hundreds and hundreds of pounds of pie dough by hand. And then we finally bought this piece of equipment, which you probably wouldn't use at home because you're probably not making 350 pounds at once. So I'm going to give you some of my tips and tricks about pie crust, making it in small batches for you in your home. So I look forward to doing that one soon. Please hit the subscribe button. If you want a notification, hit the notification bell, and I'll let you know when I start producing these baking classes that focus on pie and pie only. Okay, everyone, it was great talking with you today. I hope you learned something. Please feel free to share this video, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.